There we go. All right, welcome back, Watch fans. We have a interesting discussion for you today. How will the upcoming recession impact the watch market? Which brands will be affected the most? Will it be Rolex? Will it be Patek, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, uh, vintage, neo vintage? Which watches have the greatest chance of getting whacked by the market, right? And let me show you an interesting chart which kind of gives you the basic idea. I'm going to pull up this chart, which basically tells you kind of a famous chart, and it shows you here the kind of interest rate cuts and recessions, right? So historically, when the Federal Reserve they start cutting rates, that's when the recession usually starts, and the market starts crashing, or it starts going down. I mean, again, you can see this correlation here. We can explain why and all that stuff, but the reality is this, right? This is why the stock market, financial markets have been going down this week, because all of a sudden everybody's saying, "Wow, the Fed is finally going to start cutting rates." Actually, the Fed, I think, what didn't they? I mean, they're basically saying they're gonna start cutting rates in probably September, October, whatever. Now we also have, of course, the election coming up. We got the election coming up, and yeah, it's an interesting conspiracy, right? It looks like Trump is likely to win, right? Unless, of course, look, the reality is Trump will win unless the Democrats, pull out the old 2020 playbook and rig the election again, right? This is what they're planning to do. We got Tommy Robinson. Is this the real Tommy Robinson? This administration is atrocious, just like the Labor Party. Labor, oh yes, with the correct English spelling. Yeah, no, it's an absolute disaster. Look, Joe Biden is sort of like the retarded version of Obama. At least, Obama, I mean, wanted to destroy the country. Yeah, he was sort of, at least he was sort of a capable guy. People kind of, at least you had people who thought, okay, somebody's in charge. Actually, it's hard to say who's worse. It's really hard to say who's worse for the country. Is it Obama? Is it Biden? But there's no question that Obama is the puppet master pulling the strings. He still lives in Washington, D.C. He's the first U.S. president in, I don't know, 150 years to maintain a residence in D.C. after they leave office, right? Traditionally, U.S. presidents, they come to Washington, they serve as president, and then they go home. They go back to wherever they came from, right? I mean, in theory, Obama should have gone back to Kenya, or I mean, Chicago. Allegedly, that's where he's from, right? Hawaii, whatever, right? But no, he stuck around. He bought a big house in D.C., and that's kind of the center of operations. That's where he, runs things from. That's where they pull the strings. So it looks like they might try to rig the election again. And how would they do that with interest rate cuts? Interesting. I don't know. What if they cut rates? All of a sudden, there's a recession. That would make Biden look bad, of course, right? They do probably want to kind of lay the blame on Biden. And that would, I guess maybe the game plan is, listen, these guys are thinking very far in advance, right? Maybe they're thinking that, okay, Trump gets in this year, they start the recession, right around January. I guarantee you, if Trump gets into office January 2025, recession is going to be announced, a week later, right? And the media, the narrative is going to be that The narrative is going to be Trump started the recession. The market is scared of Trump. That's going to be their narrative, right? So that way they can get the the midterm elections, which is how does that work? Who's the mid? I should know my civics. Is that the Congress, Senate? I don't even see. I don't even know. I'm talking about stuff I don't even know about, right? But that's going to be their game plan, right? It's all rigged. The swamp. Listen, this is not. I'm not. I am not a conspiracy theorist. Look, I'm an Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe type of guy. So I'm not like some guy, living in the woods, stockpiling food and ammo, stockpiling, 22s and, what is it called? MREs in Utah or some Idaho. No, I'm a realist, right? I am a realist. We know how it works, right? Look, we know how these things work. So the reality is that there is going to be a recession, whether it starts in October, right? Whether it starts in October, again, based on interest rate cuts, this is kind of what you're looking at, right? Whether it was 2008, whether it was 2000. Now, again, 2020 doesn't really count. 2019 doesn't really. It doesn't really count because there was no real recession in 2020, right? It was like kind of a rigged type of thing where the government basically just shut down the economy and then they gave everybody free money, which caused the people to buy Balenciaga hoodies, Rolex, Flex watches, all that stuff, right? The Supreme backpacks, hoodies. Anthony Farrer was the product of that. So there's definitely going to be a recession. Now the question is, how will that affect the watch market? So we got a big supporter of course, of the Watch Reporter channel. We have the Watch Nicholas, citizen journalist, $3.99 super sticker, unbelievable but true. Show sponsor. That's right. The show sponsor is Watch Nicholas. Here's kind of what I think is going to happen with watch prices. Let me give you kind of my prediction with watch prices. So let's say we get into a recession. In theory, they're saying, the recession started last October. There are actually some economists who are pretty smart people saying, the market. The recession started last October, but it's kind of a stealth recession. I don't know. Could be. There was some sort of rolling, stealth recession. It could be because of the, inflation. There's definitely a lot of inflation that definitely could be putting pressure on. I would say I haven't seen it. Like where I am, I don't really see it, but. They're saying, maybe there's food kitchens, food banks. What are they saying? All of a sudden, there's double the amount of people coming in there in places like Tampa or wherever. So I don't know. It could be. I'm not aware of it. The labor market is still, pretty strong, right? But here's what's going to happen, right? So typically, the watches that are going to get hit the most, right, is going to be what I call the middle class watches, right? By the way, I'm not talking about shitter brands. We're not talking about Tag Heuer. We're talking today about Rolex, Patek, AP. We're talking about high end watches today, right? Just to be clear, we're only talking about high end watches. So the brand that's going to be affected the most is definitely going to be Rolex. We're actually starting to see the recession impact Rolex prices. Look, Rolex is your basic aspirational entry-level luxury, middle class luxury, whatever you want to call it, right? It's sort of like that's the watch, everybody gets, or every man gets, I should say, is when they want to tell the world that, hey, I've made it. You get your first big bonus. I don't know, your first. Wow, I would almost say six-figure job, but it seems like all these kids today are starting off at like six figures. I don't know. There's some crazy salaries these days. I don't even know. But Yeah, I think today the kids coming out of college, they all expect like six-figure salary. I mean, the people just coming out of some low-end college with a degree in, basket weaving or, I don't know, some nonsense. They expect a six-figure salary. That's, maybe somebody's telling them this on TikTok. Who knows, right? But yeah, that's kind of, yes, everybody wants to get that Rolex watch, right? So those people are going to be squeezed the most. So which watches are going to get whacked? So I would say Rolex is first in line, but surprisingly, Patek Philippe, I think, is going to take it the most on the chin. So what's going on with the Rolex? Let's pull up the let's pull up kind of the Rolex range. We'll go through this. Yeah, look, your basic Rolex, your basic steel Rolex, sport watches, whatever you want to call this nonsense, GMT, Submariner, those watches are, they're telling you the story. Oh, yeah, we don't have it in stock, blah, blah, blah. You got to get on the wait list. You got to buy this. Look, that's becoming over very quickly. We already know that precious metal watches are selling at a discount. That's right. Precious metal Rolex is already selling at discounts. A lot of them, and it's going to be all of them. Okay, it will be all of them will be selling at not deep, but let's just say 10% discount. So today they're telling you, oh, we don't have the watch in stock, whatever. Listen, within 3 months, you're going to be getting a 10% discount. I'm telling you this right now. This is like, we're going back to like 2019. We're going back to 2019 type of market. That's where things are going. You're going to have discounts on all these watches. And here's what's going to happen, right? So the demand is going away. The production is going nonstop, right? Rolex is producing watches, like there's no tomorrow. That's what they're doing. Demand is going away, and these dealers need to, they need to pay their rent, right? A lot of these guys, especially a lot of the Rolex ADs, they've had to make some significant investments in their stores in the last few years, right? They had to, a lot of all those Rolex boutiques, they all had big upgrades, right? They had those renovations, which can cost, I don't know, 500 grand plus, 500 grand, maybe 7 figures, to put in those nice, those nice marble floors, that woodwork, the furniture, all that stuff comes in from Switzerland, right? The Patek Philippe guys had to do the same thing. They gotta get their money back. So these watches are going back to discount prices, just the way it's always been. Let's take a look. Let me show you which. So we got the GMT range. We got the GMT. Where's the GMT? Here we go. No, I'm sorry. Here, this is the new stuff, right? So, this watch in 1908, this 1908 pure trash. I mean, this is going to be 30% off. You're going to basically, you're going to be losing your money. I mean, you're buying this watch, it's like, set your money on fire. Deep Sea also. The Daytonas, all the stuff, really, all the stuff is going to get whacked big time. Now, some of these things, like, some of the new Sky Dwellers, might still be trading at list price, because look, in any economy, there's always somebody making money, right? Like, I'm not here to tell you, oh, the world is coming to an end. It's not. I'm actually very constructive on the watch market right now. I'm actually very bullish on the watch market long term. Here's why. Because what's happened is the big change that's happening over the last couple of years, there's been a paradigm shift, a real paradigm shift, where all of a sudden you had a whole new range of people came into the watch market. They've become collectors. They've been exposed to watches as a thing, if you will, right? You see it on social media. You see, Tom Brady wearing a watch, all these guys, right? Jay-Z is investing in a watch platform. Tom Brady, I think, invested in Chrono 24 or Watchbox, one of those guys. So you see, it's part of the culture now, right? So the number of, let's say, potential buyers for watches has maybe doubled in the last couple of years, right? So the size of the market has doubled. You have a whole new range of people that came into the market that got exposed to it. A lot of newbies, as we call them. A lot of the newbies came into the market around COVID time, and it's like you see these guys on these watch live streams. The Watch Colony, you got the Watch Colony, basically that live stream show. That's all newbies who basically got into watches during COVID. Before that, they may have had some tangential interest in watches. They may have had a Tag Heuer. They may have had some $500 watch or something that they got as a gift. Years back. Maybe they had a Tudor. Maybe they had a Rolex that somebody gave them as a gift or whatever. But they didn't know anything about the watches. They didn't know anything about collecting. They weren't collectors, right? Now, what's happened is you have this whole new range of collectors that have entered the market. Now, some of them, were tourists, right? You had like your tourists, which they came, they were whatever. Maybe they bought watches at the top of the hype cycle, and now they're gone. Maybe they took their watches. They maybe lost money. Who knows, right? But you had tourists basically. But still, you have a whole new range of people that came into the market. So the size of the market has actually doubled. Now, what's going to happen is all those new collectors that came into the market, a lot of these guys, they've become much more educated. They watch, channels like this, other places. And what happens is all of a sudden, the first thing everybody knows Rolex. Rolex. That's the first thing everybody starts with, right? Everybody starts off with Rolex. I'm no different, right? My first real watch was a Rolex. The basic, steel, whatever, Oyster Perpetual. I don't know, it was 25, whatever, 26. Actually, no. Technically, it was a package deal. It was because I bought a Rolex and a Patek Philippe Calatrava with a hobnail, the famous Jack Welch version. Beautiful watch. I really actually love that watch. I did know about Patek. I didn't know every watch. I knew just a few things because we didn't really have the internet then. This is like, the mid-late 90s, whatever, 97. So we didn't really know about these things. We didn't know all this information that people have today. But the thing with the internet, the thing with all this information is now all of a sudden somebody could be a newbie, right? Yeah, look, you see that on it's the Watch Colony, it's the Archie luxury stuff, right? You have all these people that they don't know anything about watches. 3 months later or 6 months later, they're going deep into the rabbit hole. Look at this guy, Uzi, right? Uzi is a good example of that. Like this guy is, I don't know, he's somewhere in Pittsburgh or whatever. I think he's the guy he was behind the Trump assassination attempt. This guy Uzi, and this guy basically he steals cars. He's a car thief, basically, or he steals catalytic converters. I don't know, whatever. And he got into watches. I don't know, when did he pop up on these channels? Maybe 6 months ago or something. And I think his first watch was a Rolex, right? I don't know if it was a Day-Date or Submariner. I don't know, whatever it is. But all of a sudden, this guy became very educated he went into a deep dive into Day-Dates, all the vintage Day-Dates, the gem set, the whole thing. So, all of a sudden, he started off with, let's say, the Submariner, the basic bitch Submariner. Next thing you know, he's buying these bizarre factory set Day-Dates, and and he's just getting started, right? Like now he's talking about thinking of AP, whatever. He's 6 months into this. If he stays interested in watches, I don't know if he will or not, whatever. I'm sure he will. But this guy's going to go into more vintage stuff, more unusual things. He's going to kind of go into, the taste change to become much more sophisticated, right? So let's go back to kind of Rolex, right? So with Rolex, again, so I'm bullish on the market. So again, just to be clear, I'm not like some doomsday guy saying the sky is falling. I'm just telling you the reality is everybody's saying, it's becoming apparent that there's going to be a recession. Once interest rates are cut, which the Fed is signaling is going to happen with sometime September, October. Buff is saying there will be a big wave coming when the Reddit EDC hobbyists realize smartwatches are e-waste. That's right. Well, okay. So you're talking Buff. What you're talking about is sort of let's call it a lot of those people. Okay, so you had a lot of younger. I don't know what's the younger. Is it millennials? Is it Gen Z? I don't know. Whatever you want to call it, right? But what you've had, I think the millennials really started this, but you've had over the last 15 years really a growing appreciation for artisanal, unique stuff, not corporate mainstream stuff, right? Then let's face it, all the millennials, I mean, they're basically sheep. They're sheep, they're lemmings. They're all drinking the same Kool-Aid. They all follow the same thing. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to be unique, right? Well, they have a desire to be unique. That's why they start getting tattoos, right? The whole thing with these tattoos is, people want to signal to the world, hey, I'm a unique individual. I'm whatever. I'm special, right? And guess what? You are special. Really, you are unique. I mean, right? You really are. I mean, you don't need to get a stupid tattoo to say that. Traditionally people would do that with, you express your unique personality with, I don't know, clothes or whatever. But there's a lot of uniformity in the world, right? Everybody wears the same nonsense. Like you watch these YouTube channels, all these guys, these bukyaks, they're all wearing the baseball cap indoors, right? You got that JJ and you got all those tomato cans all wearing baseball caps indoors. You got all these guys buying the same watch. They're all buying the Submariner. They're all buying the Oyster Flex. They're all buying nonsense, right? They're all buying the same nonsense. But at the margins, and this is where things happen, at the margins, you have people who, there's been, again, this growing appreciation for craftsmanship, for, kind of, again, look at this interest in vinyl records, right? Vinyl records. There's actually a whole thing with people buying vinyl records. And who's buying it? Is it 60-year-old people? No. It's 20-year-olds are buying vinyl records because they like that analog. They want that analog thing. Look at these tomato cans, these degenerates at this place. What do they call it? Oh, they call themselves Analog Shift, right? Analog Shift, right? And who's this Analog Shift? These guys are a bunch of guys with Dirty Sanchez mustaches. Hang on a second. Let me show you these tomato cans. Analog Shift. So it's a bunch of hipster type of wannabes with these guys. They all got the Dirty Sanchez mustache now. That with the tattoos and. Hang on a second. They all roll up the pants. Hang on. Let me see if we can find these bukyaks here. They all have the same type of look, these tomato cans. But yeah, so why do they call their company Analog Shift? Why do they call it Analog Shift, right? And again, these guys they're actually pretty marketing savvy. The guys from Analog Shift, they're marketing savvy. And hang on a second. Let me show you what these guys look like. Let me show what these tomato cans look like. Hang on a second. Okay, hang on a second. Okay. I don't know. Okay, so you got this. Hang on a second. Look, you got the guy with the Dirty Sanchez mustache, right? They got the Dirty Sanchez mustache. The whole look at the pants are rolled up, right? The rolled up pants. What is that all about? Look at this. They're all rolling up the pants. What is that all about? With a weird, kind of odd taste. That is weird. That's a odd taste in shoe blue. I can't get into this. Listen, it's the Dirty Sanchez look, right? the Dirty Sanchez look. But why do they call their company Analog Shift? Now, they're very smart marketers, whoever started this company, and that's where kind of the sort of culture is going. People want the hipsters today, the hipsters, the young folks. They want stuff that has that analog. Hang on a second, let me show you the other Dirty Sanchez guy. Okay, hang on. There we go. Okay, so look, so these are the guys, right? From Analog Shift, right? What do you see? Dirty Sanchez mustache. You got this guy with the tattoos. They all talk about curating. That's the word they love. They love that word curation, curating. All this nonsense. They drink the soy milk with the poured over filtered coffee. What's that thing with the coffee? They pour over that coffee into the thing. Analog. Yes. Actually, I got to tell you something. And this Analog Shift, they have the boutiques inside of the Watches of Switzerland, right? Which is, I think, a marketing genius thing. Now, when you walk in there, I walk into the local one over here in Vegas, and you walk in there, it's actually brilliant. Seriously, it's brilliant. Whoever came up with that boutique design, first of all, it smells different, right? It smells different. They got some sort of unique scent in that store, right? It's got like a special, I don't know. They have some sort of special scent in there, which, by the way, is very important psychologically, because scent is one of the most important emotional triggers. The scent reminds you of, I don't know, childhood. It can, bring back memories from 100 years, 80 years ago, whatever, right? It's like scent is very, very powerful. What's the first thing you notice in any Las Vegas casino? You walk in there, it's the scent. They have, a lot of them have like a unique scent. Anyway, so Analog Shift, it smells great. They have these walls of this beautiful green color. It's very kind of plush. I mean, it's very modern but plush. It's a beautiful environment. It really is a beautiful environment. I mean, I think they've done a great job. I don't know anything else about them. They have basically vintage watches, right? They got they're basically selling you vintage, like the stuff you see here. They're basically selling you, whatever, this type of stuff. Langa, neo vintage, Royal Oak, neo, a lot of neo vintage stuff, basically, right? They want to say not used. They're not selling used. That's right. They're not peddlers of used watches. No, they're purveyors. They're purveyors of vintage. They're purveyors of vintage. All right, that's what these boutiques are. That's their grift, right? That's their grift that they're trying to scam you with. They're trying to scam you. Unbelievable, but true. So where do we go with that? Right. So anyway, so these guys, this Analog Shift, right? Again, I'm talking about my thesis, why I'm bullish on the watch market long term. Because let's say you look at these Analog Shift guys, that's really, again, these are very smart marketers. They were bought by Watches of Switzerland. Whoever's the merchandiser, I should say, the merchandiser. Whoever's running their merchandising is world class. I'm going to tell you right now, whoever's doing the merchandising for the boutiques of Analog Shift they should get a massive bonus. That person is world class. It's like a boutique within the boutique. It's absolute genius, and it's not expensive. It's not an expensive build out. It's not like a Patek or a Rolex build out. It's like, the walls have this, kind of plush. I think it's like some sort of green ultra suede, the wallpaper. You got some nice carpet. You got the scent, and you got a couple of pieces of, whatever built custom for. Yeah, it's not an expensive setup. It's probably 50 grand, 100 grand at the most for that build out. It's not expensive. I mean, compared to everything else, right? But again, those guys That's where the market is going. So all those collectors, the Uzis, a lot of these guys are going to start. Maybe they bought a new Rolex, but they're going to start going away from the basic Rolex, right? They're going into the analog shift type of stuff or deeper vintage. And I'll tell you specifically, like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about on the channel. Those vintage, like I'm using the Patek Philippe Ellipse as kind of the placeholder for the conversation, if you will. You can get the Patek Ellipse 1970s, early 80s for under 10 grand, right? Under 10 G's, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. That's where you're going to see a lot of collectors going. You're going to see a lot of collectors. I think Rolex is still going to be healthy. A lot of those, vintage Rolex, stuff like the Turnograph, even, under 10 grand. You're going to have vintage stuff, like real serious collector stuff that's accessible, like 10 grand or in that price range, is going to do well because those people, they'll still have jobs, right? And they've already been bitten by the bug, right? They've been bitten by the bug, and they're going to buy watches. So those $8,000 AP vintage 60s watches, the Vacherons, 1950s and 1960s Vacherons, those are going to keep selling. Actually, they're going to get more. The market for those is going to grow, right? So again, we got a whole new generation of collectors has entered the market, which is very, very bullish long term, right? Again, all those new people, but they're going wider. The market is going wider. It's going, see, when all those new people first came into the market, it was all about Rolex, because that's the first thing. That's why Rolex prices exploded. Rolex prices exploded because that's the first thing people knew about. Or maybe they heard of the Royal Oak or maybe the Nautilus, right? So the Nautilus, the Royal Oak, those steel watches, which were, relatively, kind of well known, right? But that social media made them known even more. And that's the first thing people knew when they heard, oh, you got to buy yourself a nice watch, right? Whatever the newbies were told, brainwashed with. So the first thing, Rolex, Nautilus, Royal Oak. But now that they're into it, now that they're actually bought their second or third watch, now they're going wider and deeper. They're going into vintage. All right. So we're seeing that. That's why we've seen the Audemars Piguet, the Cobra, which is the ugliest watch, the 1970s Cobra. That tripled in price in the last, 8-9 months. That watch has tripled. Why? Because, the vintage market is doing very well. Vintage is doing well. What is going to take a hit is going to be your modern Rolex. So the modern Rolex is going to be taking a hit. So the takeaways are this, right? And by the way, who else is going to take a big hit, in my opinion? Patek Philippe. These watches are absolute garbage. The new releases of Patek is all pure trash. À la poubelle, as they say, right? I mean, this is all garbage. It's kind of like, look, Patek was known for elegance, right? Patek. People associate Patek brand with elegance. These watches are not elegant. This could be in theory, but, that unibrow type of thing, it's, I don't know, too many design things. I don't know. Is it modern? Is it what? I don't know. What is it? None of these watches are elegant. Actually, this guy here, is the best watch of the modern watches that they did. And guess what? The 5396, right? This watch is going to be taking a massive hit. This is going to be selling at a deep discount within 6 months. Okay, how do I know this? Because they always sold at a discount. Okay, this watch they're asking $63,000, right? $63,000 plus tax, right? So almost, you're talking about 70 G's. 70 G's is kind of what they're asking for this piece of shit, right? Now, I got to tell you something. So this is a watch that I had in the previous configuration with rose gold, with the baguette diamond markers. Now, why did I get rid of the watch? I'll tell you why I got rid of it. Why I traded it for the 3940G. Now, when I got that watch, I got it at a discount. How much did I pay? I think it was 48. 48. Brand new watch. Never worn. Brand new in box. BNIB. 48. I probably could have gotten it for less. This is like 2 years ago. I mean, this is during COVID even, right? Why did I get rid of the watch? I didn't like this thing that bothers me. Because again, you have here really, they're copying a design of the perpetual that perpetual calendar that they did in the late 70s, which was a beautiful watch, right? The classic watch. The problem is when you copy that design, and hang on, let me stop it. So what the issue with this watch is, I hate this 24-hour rotary thing here, right? I want the date. I want that to be a date wheel. I don't want to see these. I don't want these the aperture window, date window at the bottom. No, I want that round thing there. You see that 24-hour thing? No, that should be your calendar, right? Your days of the days of the month. Days of the month right there. If they did that, I'd be happy. So this and this was kind of this was popular when this came out, the annual calendar. I mean, it's a good looking watch, right? The problem is for real Patek collectors. If you're like a real Patek collector, this is like a mid. It's a mid watch. It's not a perpetual calendar. It's not a 3940. It's not a chronograph. It's kind of like poor man's Patek complication. It's like an Archie luxury watch, right? It's kind of like your poor man's Patek complication. It's out of this whole range, that watch is the cheapest watch, right? That is the absolute cheapest watch. Well, except for, I guess, the whatever, this Ellipse, which is whatever, some stupid price. And by the way, this is a piece of shit. Look at this. How much are they asking for this? $60,000 for this garbage. Now you can get a 70s Ellipse just like this for $10,000, which is the real deal. So, and you're much better off buying the real deal, the vintage watch, versus this, modern version, because, you want the real deal, right? You want the real vintage. So, Patek is disappointing collectors. So this range over here it's all garbage. I mean, I did a video about this, 6 months ago. I told you guys the same thing. My opinion has not changed. I mean, these watches are an absolute disaster. I mean, what is this? The Pilot travel time. What do they call this? How much are they asking for this garbage? $260,000. Alarm. Oh, it's got the alarm. Who cares? Really? It's got an alarm, makes a little sound. $260,000. I mean, this is such an ugly watch. I mean, it looks like a Frankenstein with the bolts coming on in its head. I mean, it's a hot mess. It's a hot dumpster fire. It's like a diaper dumpster fire. I don't know, whatever you call it. It's like a dirty diaper with shit in there. It's lit on fire. 140 grand for this garbage perpetual calendar, right? Why would you buy this perpetual when you can buy 3940, 50? What's the previous perpetual? Actually, the new perpetual. 40 grand. You get 40, 50 grand. You can get yourself a nice neo vintage perpetual with the subdials. Again, these cases are much too big. Oh, that's the other issue. The reason I sold the watch was two things. Number one is the case is just too bulky. Okay, 38 millimeter, but the lugs, the problem is the lugs. Those lugs, these modern lugs that they do now, they just flare out. They're brutish, right? They're not elegant. Yeah, it was just I didn't like that. Look, the white gold I think is a better version than the previous. I'll give it that much. But Still, now again, 100. Why would somebody pay 100 and, you're paying 140 grand for this watch, right? Well, okay, it's platinum. Who cares? You get a nice perpetual for 50 grand from Patek. So again, these new watches are. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff sitting in there. Again, why would they sell? No, you had a couple of these tomato cans. Again, I'm using the watch colony people because these are newbies, right? Those guys as an example, because I think two of them bought the 5396, right? Why would these tomato cans be getting a watch if it's allegedly, if it's such a hot watch? Why would they be selling it to some tomato can from a watch colony guy, right? Well, why would they be doing that? The reason is because the ADs are becoming desperate, right? They're becoming desperate. This stuff is not, the merchandise is not moving. Things are not moving. And they're going to be starting to go slower. By the way, this is a beautiful watch for an Aquanaut. Very cool. They make a very limited amount of these, so this doesn't even count in the category because this is such a low production thing. I mean, a lot more than you expect, but it's still low production. I actually think it's pretty cool. I'm not sure. I don't know how well the design is going to age. I'm not sure how well it's going to age, to be honest. I could see these selling at a discount in a year and a half. These could be 150 grand. Okay, so now the one brand I actually think is going to do relatively okay is Audemars Piguet, specifically the Royal Oaks. Look, Royal Oaks, they have a classic design. It is actually pretty low production. The Royal Oak range is actually relatively low production compared to everybody else, right? So they're going to do okay, right? They're not going to. I don't think they're going to go to a discount. I think they're going to be at. They're going to be at the, at list. What is going to take a hit is that code 1159 range. Again, this is kind of your garbage AP. I mean, look, the design, they're starting to do some nice things. You appreciate, okay, what they're doing, but I mean, this is trash. This watch has no purpose, has no reason to exist. This watch is literally no reason to exist. What is it? Is it a dress watch? Is it trying to be a sport watch? It's too big. Again, it's 38 millimeter. It wears like a 40. So they're trying to appeal to, I guess, that, to the newer collector. They want to try to, who's got used to the 40 millimeter watches, who doesn't know any better. Guys, don't be suckers. The code 1159 is, you might as well set your money on fire. You might as well set your money on fire. It's these are going to be going to like zero, basically. Okay, code 1159 is garbage. All right. The only AP that's good is the Royal Oak. So, sadly, it's true. Now, here's the thing. Audemars Piguet made some beautiful watches, incredible watches, in years past, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, early 80s, not Royal Oaks, like the dress watch. They did some great watches. They're not doing them anymore, right? Like, this is crap. This is going to be a money loser, okay? You buy this, you're going to lose your money. You buy this, you're going to lose your money. The stuff, okay, so to wrap it up, the stuff that is the safest, I mean, is really, I would say, vintage. We're talking about, 60s, 70s type stuff, the smaller dress watches. Again, I'm using the Patek Ellipse as sort of like a benchmark of that. And what else? And I think Rolex steel watches are going to be, they're going to go slightly under the market. They're already kind of dipping. A lot of stuff is dipping. The stuff that it's not going to go 50% off. That's never going to happen. Could it go 10% down? Could it go 20% below list? Absolutely. Probably will. So the point is, don't be paying a premium now, because that premium is going to disappear, right? So, if a watch is 9,000 list, right? You buying a Rolex for which is a $9,000 list model, right? Like a hang on a second. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's use an example. Let's pick out. Let's use a basic Submariner. By the way, day date absolutely going to take a hit. I'll tell you why. The day dates historically always sold at discounts, right? They always sold at discounts. And, again, 60 grand, when you talk about 60 grand, you're talking about somebody, who's got some money, right? If they have some taste, if they got some sophistication, they're probably going to go for an AP. They'll spend a little extra to get the gold AP, right? Well, maybe not, because Rolex does have that kind of, it's more of a beater watch, so it could take a beating. Hang on a second, but yeah, these are going definitely deep discounts, 30% off. So let's take a look. The Datejust, okay. So Datejust range, I think they just did a price increase, right? They did the price increase. So how much is that now? $36 mm. Or is the price? I think is it 8 grand? Oh, Datejust 41. Let's see. Okay. Oh shit, 10 grand now. Wow. So 10,350, right? So let's say 11 G's. You're talking about oh shit, I'm sorry. Here we go. You're talking about $11,000, right? 11,000. And actually, I think it's a great watch, right? This is the Datejust 41 in the mint green is a great choice. Wait, what'd they do? Did they still make a blue dial? Did they stop making the blue dial? Okay, so yeah, blue. Okay, so let's say you blue dial. Okay, whatever. I think the green is more interesting though. The green dial. Okay, you got your green dial right now. The bracelet. I would say go with the Jubilee. The Jubilee. Where is the Jubilee? How do you do the configuration here? Bracelet. I don't know. Oh, configure. There we go. Configure. I don't know. I don't want to spend time on their nonsense website. But again, the watch is, let's say 11 G's list price with tax. So, oh, wait a minute. What is this? White Rollosaur. Huh. Okay. So the bezel, fluted. Okay, yeah, fluted bezel, excuse me. Bracelet. Let's see, Jubilee. I don't like that clasp that they do now, but whatever. And you go with this green. Actually, let me go back. I would do the bezel. I would do a smooth bezel. Smooth bezel on the green. Yeah, look at that. There you go. Oh shit! Wait, 8,300. What was the other one? 8,300. So what's the 10 grand? I don't know. Clearly, I'm not following these basic. I don't follow basic bitch watches. I don't know. This is 8 grand. I thought. So what was the thing for 10 grand? Who knows? Who cares? But you know, don't pay if you buy this watch for, let's say, this $8,000 watch. If you pay 10 grand for it, you're basically buying you're locking yourself into a loss, because that spread is going to narrow. A year from now, they're going to be selling for, you know, 8 grand. There's going to be a lot of these on the market, right? This is a mass production watch. Yeah, they all look really good with a smooth dial. Look at that. Looks really good. None of these dials look bad, except for the Wimbledon. Yeah, don't do this. That's a mistake. Oof. I actually had one of these Roman dials on a Oyster. But again, look, that was the 90s. That's what I had. I had something like this. Oyster 36 millimeter. Hey, that's what it was, right? You know, in the 90s. Oh, the Baron Red is here. The Red Baron. Shit, we haven't seen this guy in a while. The Red Baron. Red Baron. Hop on the channel. What happened to this guy? He went MIA. He might have been kidnapped or something. I don't know. He might have been kidnapped. Oh, the fluted bezel. Oh, oh, is that what it is? Shit. Hold on a second. I didn't even know. Wait, they charge more for a fluted bezel? No. No, that can't be. Hold on a second. Let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at this. Yeah. Oh my God. I had no idea. I had no idea. I actually had no idea. It's $2,000 extra. Wow. For the fluted bezel, 2 G's extra. Oh my God. The Baron Red. Baron, welcome back.
What's going on, Colonel? I can't stay too long. I got to head out to the opera in a couple minutes.
Oh, the opera. Oh, where have you been? What have you been? You've been MIA. What do you got, a new girlfriend or something? What's going on?
No. Okay. So I was in June. I was back home in Jersey for 3 weeks, and then I got back to Portland, and then so work is ramping up because it's our busy season. It's gonna be a busy season until about mid to late September, and then our system shut down. Yeah. So just work got really crazy.
Why do they shut it down in September?
Oh, it's financial stuff, because for the end of the fiscal year, which is September,
okay.
They have to shut everything down to do the audit stuff, and that takes this year it's gonna take a month to finish everything.
Okay, right. You work for, what is it, the El Chapo? You do the auditing for the cocaine production facilities. You know, they have it's a serious. Yeah, they run a serious business, right? So,
Yeah.
What's your take on this concept of which watches? Now, do you think that there will be a recession once interest rates are cut, which is the historical narrative, the historical pattern? You're a financial guy. You're an accountant, right? You're an expert in these.
No, so I'm actually not an accountant. I do contracts, but I'm not a lawyer, but I do contracts. So I'm like a buyer. I guess that would probably be the best way to explain what I do.
So do you think that the economy will go into recession once interest rates are cut? Let's say September, October, November,
Okay, so I could see it going both ways, because how long have we been saying that, oh, we're in recession, Probably at least a year and a half. I think everyone's been saying we're in recession. And we haven't seen it yet.
They've been saying we're going into. That's been saying that, right? And last year, that narrative started when they started jacking up interest rates, right? They're going to say, oh, when you jack up the interest rates, it's going to start the recession. Yeah, because all of a sudden borrowing costs went, let's say a mortgage, they were giving away free houses. Now it's 7%, right?
Yeah.
Car loans, etc. Now, what happens when Trump gets in? I know you're in Portland, so you're one of those left-wing extremists You were probably behind the assassination attempt.
Perhaps, but I am not a left wing of any sort. I am definitely voting for Trump. I voted for him last time.
Hold on, you're in Portland. You're in Portland, isn't that like?
Yeah.
I mean, you could get lynched for voting for a Republican.
Yeah, I know. I could.
All
Okay,
those,
but
open-minded.
yeah, okay, but just to get back on topic real quick. So, okay, so this is what I know, right? So this is what I've seen. I've seen, because I'm looking at townhouses in the area, and I've seen the townhouses, and as well as just regular like starter homes. I've seen them; they're sitting longer in the market, right? And then so I'm on Redfin, and then you save the house, and then they send you the email of when they actually do sell. And I've been seeing the houses, they've been dropping the prices, and when they do sell, they don't sell at the drop price. It's further reduced, which I guess is normal, but it has not been normal, for the previous couple years back during the recession, when the housing market got really hot. So we've been seeing that. I've been hearing, from these real estate guys on YouTube. They're talking about the hot markets, like in Florida. They're saying that the markets, or the housing market in Florida, has been coming down a lot, like in the Tampa area and in Miami. So we've been seeing that. I know locally the big employers are Nike and Intel. And if you've been following financial news, Intel's yeah, they got hit hard. So they're having a lot of issues with just production. So they're cutting something like 10-15% of their workforce, right? So we see that. Nike announced not too long ago that they were letting go of some big percentage of their workforce as well. And those are just the two big companies, and then you've got all these other smaller companies that are probably doing the same, that just aren't hitting the news.
What
So
about
we're seeing,
what about Antifa? What about Antifa? Are they still hiring? I think they're booming, right? The Antifa headquarters.
Yeah, they're booming, but they also don't pay, and they don't have jobs anyway to start with. So
right. So yeah, it's interesting. So you're telling me that the real estate is a little bit weak in Portland.
Yes, yeah. And then so historically, I think even during, well, not the big recession that happened like a decade ago or more, but historically, even when the housing markets in other areas have been soft, Portland's held. It's as long as I've been here, for the 7.5 years I've been here, the housing market in Portland has been holding and increasing. So, but right now we're starting to see prices decline back to where they were. I mean, it's not much of a decline, but it's going back to where they were maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Oh, really? That's actually, because a lot of markets went up like 50% in the last, since COVID, right? A lot of markets went up 50%. Like Miami, for sure, Vegas, Phoenix, those markets, Texas.
Yeah. So, I can't speak for, I guess, all the segments within residential real estate, but just what I'm looking at. Because for the houses, when you go on Redfin, you can see the history, the sales history for it, like when it sold last time. So just from just the couple of houses I've been looking at, and then I saw, all right, the last time it sold for this much, and they're asking for this much now, and they're like, for the ones that sold recently, the prices it looks like it's been going for roughly what they've been going for towards the beginning of the pandemic, when the housing market just started to heat up. So we're starting to see some retracement in pricing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. Yeah. So because Portland is an area where a lot of people from LA moved. It's like, like people who couldn't handle LA, like all the hipsters from California, from San Francisco, the Bay Area, they all moved to Portland, right? That was the thing.
Yeah, and like in Idaho, and then they moved to all these other places, and like Texas. Oh, and I heard the people are leaving Austin because I guess they just finally got fed up with the heat, and they're leaving. So
yeah, I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah, and I also want to bring up another point what I think they're going to do is I think Trump's going to win, and then to screw him, they're going to they're gonna tip the economy over, because right now I think it's a balancing act, but they're gonna tip it
Yeah.
over into recession just to screw him.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're saying at the beginning of the show, is that once he gets in other words, January, by February, you can be sure if he gets into office by February, the media will be the narrative. The narrative will be that, oh my God, the recession has started. It's Trump, the Trump recession, the Trump recession, the Trump. That's what they're going to be saying.
Yeah.
So that's anyway. So just to give you a quick wrap up, I think you probably just came in the last 10 minutes, but I was saying, look, a lot of these watches, again, if you buy any of these at a premium, for sure you're going to get whacked. The only place that's really safe is really kind of like that vintage, sort of like your vintage 60s, 70s Patek, AP, even Rolex, early, stuff that's cheap, accessible. $5,000, $10,000 stuff, sort of in that 10 grand range. Above that, I think is gonna be challenging, and but a lot of these things, and overall, everything, I think Patek, the new models of Patek are most, all these things that are going to be selling at a discount, like the Patek range, which is all à la poubelle, right? This is going to be deep discounts. I mean, AP Royal Oak, I think, is safe. At list price. But long term, I'm actually bullish. I'm actually very constructive on the watch market, because the number of collectors in watches has doubled in the last couple of years. There's a whole new mass of collectors that came into the market, and some of them were tourists. Some of them came and went, but a lot of them have stayed and they've expanded their collections. They're going deeper into vintage. They're going deeper into the stuff that's not the usual stuff, right? They're going beyond Rolex. They're going broader and deeper. Even Breguet.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm reminded about last time we had a recession. I think, didn't the luxury market actually do well during the recession?
Which one? Which recession?
Not the mini one that we had, the previous one, but the one before that. So we're going back like somewhere like a decade or something like that. Yeah, like around a decade ago, maybe a little bit more. Because I recall.
No, that was terrible. I mean, everything took a hit. I mean, everything took a hit. 2008, that period. Yeah.
Because I recall seeing an article. It's about like luxury goods in terms of, I think they're mostly talking about like handbags. So we're talking about like brands like like Louis Vuitton and and Chanel, and then and they're saying that sales for those items were doing well.
I think actually it's interesting, that stuff, the like, for sure, like the Hermes, the bags started doing well, because I actually followed that market right around that time. No, during the real recession, 2008, I mean, things just fell off a cliff. But I mean, they don't make a lot of those bags to begin with, so like those are, those all sold, right? Like, it's not like there's relatively limited production. But they actually started heating up like around afterwards, like 2010, 11. After we started coming out of the recession, like by 2011 or so, things stabilized, and that market started to really boom. But I think with watches, no, I mean, like 2019, before COVID, I think they were saying there's going to be, it was kind of one of those whatever. But there hasn't been a real recession since 2008. It just hasn't happened. Yeah. There might have been small. There might have been a couple of small slowdowns. Like 2019, I think they were starting to kind of slow down a little bit. Maybe it could have gone into like a recession, but it wasn't a real recession. There was no real recession. I mean, it's like, but maybe it could be with Intel, all the stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, So yeah, so that's kind of the wrap up. So what's in the watch collection right now, Baron? Do you have the Breguets? What's the current collection?
I still have both Breguets. I'm thinking about getting rid of the one that you really don't like, the rose gold with the white enamel dial.
Oh,
I'm thinking about getting rid of that one. I can probably either break even, or I might make potentially up to $1,000 on it if I sell it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
got to tell you
I'm
something.
trimming. I'm trimming down the collection. I'm sorry, Colonel. What'd you say?
I said dump it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna trim down the collection. I think I'm just gonna have the Breguet Marine with the Guilloche, right? I'm gonna keep that one, and then I'm just gonna have my Grand Seiko as a beater, and then that's it. Just keep those two watches, get rid of everything else, and just wear the hell out of those two watches. Yeah, and then I think in the future, if I do get something, I don't know what I want, but I think I want to go with something with a green dial.
Okay. Wow, the collection is being drastically cut. Now, I'm curious, what is the reaction of the the Antifa girls that you're dating in Portland to the Breguet Marie? What is their reaction to the Oligarch watch? How do they feel about the Oligarch watch?
Okay, so most of them, they don't even know. I think for most people in general, even if you're kind of into watches, like you don't really know what Breguet is. Like you might have heard of it, but you don't really know what it is. One person did comment as, "Oh, it's really shiny." I mean, like it caught their eye because it is. It kind of is like surprisingly a blingy watch. So
of course, it's a fucking huge watch. It's a huge gold watch.
It's white gold, you know. So
but still, you know, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it would kind of fly under the radar, but it is quite eye catching. So yeah, but most of them don't know. I did go on a date recently with this this Korean national girl. Well, she's been here for like over a decade. And it worried me. yeah, maybe. But it worried me because she knew what Breguet was. We were just kind of like talking. I told her about my interest in watches, and then she's like, "Oh, you know, what brands do you like?" And I said Breguet, and she said, "Oh, the jewelry the jewelry company." And so because Breguet also makes high end jewelry, and then like she knew like, oh, Breguet high end jewelry, like, you know what that is? Like, I'm scared now.
No, but you know, I think Asians are much more in tune with, you know, the watches, and it's a much more culturally thing. Especially if she's from Korea, right? Like if she's from Asia, right? They know it's a thing. Especially the Koreans, from what I understand, they're very into like brands. You know, it's a culture.
Definitely.
It's a you know, it's gone like way like super materialistic. You know, they've gone Gangnam style.
yeah. Oh, and it gets even worse. And then she told me all her hobbies, and then she golfs, and her parents golfs. I was like, oh my god, they yeah. It's like, no, but if you golf in Asia, it's like you've got money.
Oh, really? In Korea?
Well, I don't know what the situation in Korea is, but I'm assuming it's the same as in Japan, because in Japan it's kind of just because it's the land is limited. So if you golf, it's like you have to take the lessons, you know, and then you also got to pay the fees to join. One of the clubs.
It's got to be okay. So it's got to be okay. I get. That's why it's like a prestigious thing, right? Because, you know, I remember when I lived in LA. I mean, like you go golfing like at the place. What's the public? It's like it's packed with Koreans, right? It's like all these Korean guys. It's like, you know, whenever I went out, it was always me and like the pyramid with me and like 3 old Korean men. You know, it was like, you know, it was always because it's a big thing. That's interesting. Wow. So now, where are you finding these young ladies? What's the site? What's the place where
it's Coffee Meets Bagel.
Tinder?
It's the online, you know, like dating, I guess, site for like there's like a bunch of Asians on there.
Oh, which site? I got to go to that site.
No, it's an app. It's Coffee Meets Bagel.
Oh, is that for Asians only?
No. It just happens to be heavily dominated by Asians.
Really? Shit. I'm doing market research here. Okay. Coffee Meets Bagel. I'm gonna
Yeah.
check this out. And the girls are they good? What kind of name is that? What the hell does that mean? Even like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, it's such a goofy name.
Who knows? Who knows? Who's the coffee? Who's the bagel? I don't know. I'm gonna guess I'm the coffee.
It's like ridiculous. The name is the worst name I've ever heard in my life for a thing. I mean, okay, so it's not Tinder. The Tinder is no longer working. The Tinder is no longer the thing these days.
I actually don't use Tinder, so it's like, from when I used to use it, I found out that it's all the same people on the same apps. I mean, well, for Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, but of those three, I think it depends on the area, but Hinge is generally the best.
Hinge, okay. Now I was talking to Watch Nicholas. Watch Nicholas has a hot date on Bumble today. Bumble, that's the one where the girls pick you out, right? That's the one where you basically just, you kind of, I don't know, put your picture up and you wait. you just, I don't know, you just wait there for, I don't know, random, I don't know.
So, okay, they actually changed the rules on that. Well, they didn't change the rules. They can still message first, but there's like this prompt thing so that the guy can actually message first, because they found out that girls don't like messaging first.
Oh wow, that's shocking that they figured this out. I mean, something was known that, like, it's like, so wow. So now what happened with the girl, the Korean girl from Breguet? Did she was she impressed? Did you close the deal, or what happened?
Yeah. So okay, we went out. We had a great first date. We're talking for like 4 hours. Felt like 10 minutes, and then towards the end, she asked me if I was Korean, but I'm Chinese. And so she had reservations about that because she only dates Koreans. And she thought I was Korean.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So especially for fobs, you know what fob is, right?
Fresh off the boat.
Yeah. So I mean, well, she's even though she's been here for like a decade, she's basically a fob. There's a lot of cultural things. Like okay, for example, last night I went out with this Jewish girl, and then she was telling me, like, we had this great date, but she was more on the conservative side. In terms of just all over the board, like conservative, like the way she dressed, right? Like covered. I won't say head to toe, but she was wearing this like long dress, wearing this like long sleeve shirt. And then we had a great conversation. We saw eye to eye on a lot of things, similar values, and then it basically came down to if this works out, she would kind of expect me to convert. I'm like, I don't want to convert.
No, she said that?
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Wow.
No, but it also made sense when she explained it to me, right? Because
culturally makes sense. But like for people to that's kind of a weird thing for people to, what I'm saying? It's like, I understand culturally, like, okay, like if you're, let's say, Korean or whatever it is, Chinese, your parents want you to be with somebody of kind of the same culture, because there are cultural things, right? Like your parents are still alive, I'm assuming, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't know. Are they? I think what you said, they're like born here, right? They're born in the U.S., right?
No. My parents were born. My mom's from Hong Kong. My dad's from Shanghai. So they're also immigrants.
So listen. So there's like traditional stuff, like which is Chinese. There's like Chinese holidays. There's they make dumplings or something. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. There's like certain things. You want, because they want their grandchildren to, it's a thing. You want something that's relatable, right? It's like I get, but converting for it's like it doesn't make any sense. But wow, interesting.
But from her perspective, But from her perspective, she was thinking, is like, well, so we're talking about the Korean girl now. So she's probably thinking so she's probably thinking that, like, well, there may be some similarities, but it's not enough for her because just because she's kind of like so Korean, she's not at all Americanized.
She's really cool. Okay, no, because it's funny. I would think. No, I mean, I know there's differences. Listen. I mean, you people, you don't look all the same to me. I can tell. I can actually tell more or less. I mean, I can tell the difference between Korean and Chinese. And even in Korean and Japanese. even Japanese and Korean, I could tell. But it's hard. It's hard though. It's hard. It's not easy. But I would think if they're Americanized or they're here 10 years, there wouldn't be an issue because although I think Korea is a different culture though from China. It is a different culture, a lot different, right? It's
totally.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot different. Not a lot. It's like but it's not like, in other words, there's a hierarchy, right? There's an Asian hierarchy, right? Like all the Asians look down on like let's say Thailand, right? Or Cambodia. That's like, or Philippines. That's considered. Actually, is Philippines even Asia? That's kind of, what is Philippines? I don't know what Philippines is exactly.
Philippines it's weird because they've been occupied by the Spanish for so long. They're like, they're Asian, but are they really though? It's one of those things.
They're really like an island. They're like an island people. They're like sort of like Pacific, whatever is out there, like
the Pacific Islanders.
Yeah, they're not really Asia. I mean, they're more like I don't know, Papua New Guinea or whatever, all those islands out there, that are in the ocean or whatever those islands are. But in Asia, right? So like, the China. I mean, I think your parents would be disappointed if you married, let's say, a Cambodian girl, probably, right? For sure, they'd be disappointed. They'd be, oh shit, this guy's gone downhill.
Yeah.
Whereas the Koreans are kind of like Korea and Japan. Those are like, the Japan is like first rank, right? It's probably like Japan, technically, maybe Korea. Listen, I know you Chinese. I know the Chinese are the best. I know. Okay, but
no, it's not even that. It's I think within Asia, it's because there's a lot of historical things. So the Asians don't. I mean, they respect the Japanese in terms of what they've done with their economy.
No, they hate each other. No, they hate the Japanese. After the war.
From the war, totally. Yeah, that. And I think it's universally agreed that Asians in general hate mainland Chinese tourists because they're the worst.
But what about now? But Singapore is considered. I mean, the Singapore is ethnically Chinese, but is Singapore considered sort of like a Japan? Like, is that considered like next best thing? Like, is that like
that I'm not sure of. Just because Singapore is so small, and then I'm not sure what their influence is in the area.
Okay, so the Korean girl basically told you "à la poubelle."
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, because probably her family get together for the Korean barbecue and they order like the weird stuff, like the weird Korean like weird stuff, and you're not gonna eat it, so they're gonna like when she invites you to the house, they order like, I don't know, some weird eyeballs of the weird shit they eat. They eat dogs. Listen, they still eat dogs. Let's be. The Koreans do eat dogs, all right? Yes or no? The Koreans eat dogs.
I think that's like all of Asia.
No, the Koreans especially. The Koreans love like there's a special type of dog. I mean, they breed the dogs to eat them.
Yeah.
Because I think they think it's some sort of like medical or some special powers, like healthy, whatever, some energy, feng shui or something.
That I don't know. I know my mom, because I asked my mom about it, and then she said when she was young she had a dog and she said it was delicious.
Yeah.
So it's probably more of a taste thing.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. Maybe I should try it. What kind of dog was it? Do you know? It was like a
I don't know.
No, but the funny thing is the young generation. I mean, I don't know. Like you see, Asians, they all have dogs, right? That's like a thing. It's like a status thing. The little fluffy dog. They all have little fluffy dogs. The girls, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and they're cute, and the dogs are cute. The little, they either have like a Pomeranian or like a little Maltese. Yeah.
They all have the same type. Yeah, but they're not eating that dog, right? I mean, so the new generation is not going to be eating dogs. Yeah, it's like they're kind of gone from
maybe if you're out in like the rural villages,
Okay. Wow, are there a lot of Asians in Portland? I don't think there are. It's like I don't think there's any.
There are quite a bit. I would say probably, I know there's a lot of Vietnamese here. There are some Chinese. Surprisingly, a lot of Japanese.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
What
I
about?
think
I would
yeah.
say the
Go ahead.
Vietnamese. Vietnamese there's a lot of good-looking Vietnamese girls. They have that good. They have like a good look. They get that like kind of a long face. You know, what I'm talking about the long sort of face.
Yeah,
The Viet.
and for
Yeah.
for the most part, most Viet girls I've met they're thin, but they may be attractive. But this is gonna sound terrible, but they have the ones that are immigrants. They have that accent. I cannot stand the Vietnamese accent because it's the way that they speak. It's like the rhythmic tonal way that I find to be irritating.
Oh, is it like the Filipino accent?
No, it's different. The Vietnamese when they speak, it sounds like, so this is gonna be terrible. I'm gonna butcher it, but it sounds like
Yeah.
it sounds like nyong 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 like that. So
That sounds like all the Asian languages to me. You know, it sounds no, it sounds like Chinese almost. No.
it different. The Chinese accent is different. It's
Oh,
less like when they have the accent, it's like it's very, so Vietnamese, the accent, it's very rhythmic and tonal.
okay.
So
Okay.
you'll have to watch a YouTube video on it because it's
Okay. Okay.
difficult for me to explain. But hey, Colonel, I
Okay.
gotta head out. I'm
Okay.
late.
Okay. Okay. Have fun. Have fun. Okay. 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 Bye.
All right, I'll hop on another time later.
All right. Have fun. All right. All right. There we go. So we got valuable information here, valuable deep dive into the world of trans-Asianal dating, right? Is it inter or trans? Like, between is that called, not to be confused with transsexuals, but yeah, fascinating. So this is the place. We've got some deep information as coffee meets bagel. That's the place for the Asian girls. FOB. And we know that dog tastes delicious. So we got valuable information, and we got the update on what's happening with the watch market. I mean, I can't believe we only have one show sponsor today. We should be having, like, I don't know, at least $2 million raised from this channel so far. But anyway, all right, guys, that wraps it up. We gave you the inside scoop, what's happening with the economy and watches, the correlation. Make sure you click the like, subscribe button and get our free weekly newsletter. And we'll see you all on the next one.